Most gardeners are, chasing pH with quick fixes. And honestly, it's the reason their soil never actually stabilizes. They throw lime at acidity, sulfur at alkalinity, retest, panic, and then just repeat the whole process. The real-world result is nutrient lockout that comes and goes, calcium spikes, magnesium imbalance, and crops that, look healthy one month and deficient the next. The mistake isn't testing soil, the mistake is trying to force pH instead of buffering it. The most noticeable change wasn't the numbers, it was nutrient behavior. Calcium stopped leaching, magnesium stayed available, iron deficiency symptoms disappeared without adding iron. That only happens when pH stops drifting. How this behaves differently than lime or gypsum. Lime reacts fast and aggressively. Gypsum adds calcium without raising pH but still moves quickly through soil. Charged char doesn't move, it sits in place and moderates exchanges. Think of it less like a fertilizer and more like a voltage regulator. This is why the method works across soil types. In sandy soil, it slows nutrient loss. In clay, it prevents nutrient tie-up. In raised beds full of compost-heavy mixes, it keeps biology from swinging chemistry too far in either direction. In a small garden, you don't need much. 1 5-gallon bucket of charged char compost mix can treat a surprising amount of space. I focus on beds that grow heavy feeders or crops sensitive to pH, like tomatoes, brassicas, and peppers. I don't reapply every year. Once every 3 to 4 years has been enough in most cases. Overuse doesn't help and can reduce responsiveness if you go too far. What about hydroponic and hybrid systems? Pure hydroponics doesn't use soil, but pH instability is still one of the biggest headaches. I've used this method indirectly by running nutrient solution through a biofilter containing charged char and compost extract. The result was slower pH drift and fewer corrections. In wicking beds and systems that combine soil and reservoirs, adding charged char to the soil zone reduced how often I had to adjust nutrient solution pH. It didn't eliminate monitoring, but it reduced intervention. Correcting the myth that ash is the same thing. Wood ash is not a substitute for this method. Ash is highly soluble and strongly alkaline. It raises pH fast and then disappears. Charcoal is mostly carbon with massive surface area. It doesn't raise pH on its own. It moderates. I've tested ash side by side with char in acidic beds. Ash spiked pH above 7 within weeks and caused micronutrient lockout. Char stabilized pH without overshooting. Why this takes patience and why that's the point. This isn't a rescue treatment for a dying bed. It's a structural correction. You don't see dramatic changes in a week. You see steadier growth over a season. Leaves stay darker longer. Fruit set improves. Stress tolerance increases. That's why this method disappeared from modern advice. It doesn't sell urgency, it sells stability. When not to use this approach. If your soil is severely contaminated, saline, or structurally broken, this won't fix everything. If you need rapid pH correction for a specific crop window, lime or sulfur still have a place. This is not a replacement for testing. It's a way to make test results meaningful for longer. The biggest mistake is treating this like a fertilizer. It's not, it's infrastructure. Why this finally solved my pH problems. Once the soil had something to buffer chemistry, instead of reacting to it, everything calmed down. Feeding became simpler. Compost worked better. Deficiencies stopped appearing randomly. The soil stopped acting fragile. That's what ancient growers understood without meters or charts. Stable systems outperform precise but unstable ones. If this way of thinking about soil helped you, subscribe to the Farm Logic channel and share this with someone who's tired of chasing numbers instead of growing food. Practical knowledge like this doesn't just improve harvests, it makes the whole system easier to live with, season after season,